Hey everybody, welcome
Hey,
back to episode 7 of your favorite podcast, Ignorant Education. I am Daisy Dash, and of course this is
Miss Annelytics.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back.
Welcome back,
Super
guys.
excited to be here.
Yeah.
So as we always do, we're going to kick it off with a mental health check to see how we're doing this week, because we don't want to start this episode or any episode off with any bad vibes. So let's check in, Miss Annelytics. How are you today? How's everything? How's life?
Life is good. Today specifically, so we're shooting this on a Saturday. Was really good for my self-care day. So my sisters and I did a spa day with my mom.
Ooh.
Yeah, my sister came in from Boston, so we just
Boston, they in the finals. Give it up for Boston being in the finals. Nia Long Man is the new coach of the Boston Celtics. Shout out
yeah,
to her.
shout out to her.
Yes, get some Nia
Black
Long
man
in your
coaches.
life and it takes you far. Okay.
Period.
But yes, Boston.
Yeah.
But yeah, how was the spa day? What happened? How was that?
It was good. So my oldest sisters, I have 2 older sisters. I'll do a shout out to her, Delightful Designs Catering. She does all things creative, honestly. She's always been a creative since like youth. But
the delicious food. It's so
she does food, she does event planning and design. She's amazing when it comes to thinking of, you know, different designs and different party events and all of that. But she's also really good at just planning random events too, just random fun social events. So she did the spa day and she had her steamer set up. She had mimosas for us.
Mimosas make everything better. Let's just start there. Okay.
And it's like, woo, I'm at the age where I can drink with my parents now. So that's also interesting. That's not rum punch, like, because we're Jamaican, so we always drink rum punch, even from youth. I don't know if that's legal to say, but it's all right. I'm grown now. What you gonna do?
It builds character, okay?
Right. Period. So yeah, she made peach cobbler waffles. They're so good.
Listen, I need to come on up to New York.
Yeah, follow her, Delightful Designs Catering. Like, she has some photos up there of that thing. Oh, it was good. So yeah. So it's a good just bonding time, just connecting, even without speaking, just being in each other's presence and just catching up. Yeah. So for a mental health day, it's been really good.
That's beautiful.
Really good. What about you?
I love that. Yes. Ooh, I can't wait to. I like my siblings. Like once they get older, you know, I can vibe.
Yeah. You were probably, my sisters were saying that about me.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I can't wait till she gets older so we can actually like her again. Like,
hey, you know, okay.
Shout out to the younger siblings.
Yeah, shout out to the babies. Shout out to the younger, whatever.
Younger siblings, yes. But for me,
how you doing?
I'm doing good. Okay. I've been like super dramatic over this past week, and I know the friends and individual that's listening to this is probably agreeing that I was super dramatic this week. And I'm entitled to that, like that life. My grandmother used to always call me a drama queen, and I still am a drama queen. Like whenever I get my little feelings, air quote, hurt, I really be in my feels. Like
okay, you can be in your feels.
But I'm gonna make it like super dramatic. Like you're gonna feel that. You're gonna know every second. that I speak while I'm in my feelings, every other sentence is gonna be like, oh my God, my feelings are really hurt. Like
just in the way you breathe, it's like, oh, her feelings are hurt.
I don't know if I'm gonna make it to the next day. So I've been super dramatic. Because the guy that I'm dating, he hurt my feelings, and
boo.
boo to him, whatever. But no, he's probably like, you're being super dramatic right now. I didn't, he didn't, but I hurt my own feelings, ladies. You know how you can do that, like.
That's a sigh.
The sigh, because I'm growing, right? And I'm trying to be a better person each day I wake up, and I'm trying to get closer to God. So,
that comes with, trial and error.
It
comes with some missteps.
Holding yourself accountable. But in the midst of it, I was not. And it's okay. I felt like my feelings were hurt. And I was just like, oh, my feelings were hurt. But they really weren't. But my puppy dog's birthday was this past week. Benji is officially...
Happy belated birthday.
Yeah, thank you. He's officially 3. It's hard out here being a single mom. Taking care of the kids and just like, paying bills. It's hard. Bills. So
them dog treats, dog food be expensive.
Everybody's talking about baby formula being out of stock. Dog food is out of stock. Let's start there. Yes, people aren't talking about that because they just don't care about our kids. And it's just like, how am I supposed to feed my child? We only eat organic over here.
That's what happy is spoiled and rotten. Dogs were hunting out here in these streets.
This dog can't hunt. Could never. If anyone knows Benjamin, he could never. Benjamin is not a hunting type dog. He is a get on the couch, watch TV type of snore dog. That's it. That's all. So celebrated Benji's birthday. Things have been like, prayers have been answered. Vision boards are like checking off the list.
Honestly, yes.
So, I'm living my life like this golden.
Hey, like this. Shout out to Jill Scott. Shout out to Jilly from Philly.
So yeah, I've been good. Besides being dramatic and being me, myself, and I.
That's all I got in the end.
That's all I got in the end. Girl,
we just got on the music. Shout out to it being Black Music Month. I think that's what type of time we are right now.
Yes, Black Music Month. Okay. So yes, but overall, besides both of us clearly having great mental health weeks and getting ourselves together, what's a lesson or blessing that you learned this week?
Ooh, a lesson or a blessing? Let's see. I have a lot to be grateful for.
That's awesome.
But I think a lesson for me is how important family time is for me, especially as someone who tends to be by herself. Like, I would lock myself in a room, which I think is okay to like
perfectly fine.
Exactly. Which I think is great to like rejuvenate, kind of reset. But like family time, I feel like is like no other. And the family, in how you define family, it doesn't have to be your blood, but like being with people who love you unconditionally, who know like about your life for the most part, like who see you authentically and the most authentic version of yourself. Being in those spaces are also being in those spaces is really refreshing too. And I have to remember to balance both being alone and being with people I love. So like I said, with the spa day, I was like, this was nice, because I don't know, I think because I'm so used to putting on for people in the world, like just being my best self in the world, it gets exhausting. So sometimes you just gotta be in a space where people don't necessarily require you to be the best. So That's a recent lesson that I feel like I'm learning. I'm working on it because your family also needs you too. So sometimes you do have to be a little selfless while still maintaining your boundaries. So I'm still working on that balance. How do I maintain my boundaries while also being a servant? It's an interesting struggle.
I'm sure it is. I like that. And that's something that I deal with a lot. Because I'm not a people person.
You are for the people that you for.
Yeah, for the people that I'm for, the people that are in my circle, that's what I'm a people person, and I come alive. We have a great personality, right? But I think that's a similar lesson that I've learned like this past week or two, because that I went into the office 2 weeks ago. Ooh, child, the ghetto.
Ooh.
Ooh, child. Shout out to everybody that's been working from home since the panoramic has started. Okay, shout out to us. So this is the first time I've been in the office in over 2 years.
Wow.
Which is crazy, right?
That's crazy.
And my social battery literally was drained after these 2 days. And it took me almost 2 weeks. Like this week, I really just started like getting back together and feeling energized, but just being around people, small talking and everything, it is a blessing to communicate and be around people and have those conversations and network. That's a blessing, but it's also, to me, it's just like I don't need it. I don't.
Something you're learning.
I'm learning. I think I've been learned this, but I relearned this. Like I'm okay to be at home. Like I'm blessed to work at home, and that's my blessing for this week. I'm blessed to work at home full time and have that flexibility and not have to communicate with people when I'm going to the bathroom, when I'm getting water, when I'm getting my coffee. I don't have to speak to anyone. So these past 2 weeks have definitely been time to myself and re-energizing. And then I took myself on a solo date after going into the office for 2 days. I was like, girl, you need to take some time for yourself before you go in this house. You just need to take a breather. And the solo date was definitely like, ooh, I gotta start doing these often, because like I've never went to a restaurant and sat down by myself.
Neither have I. And I really want to do it too.
Never. Like Starbucks, that doesn't count. Like I know people like, oh yeah, I go to Starbucks sometimes. Like, no, like go to a restaurant, sit down, have I got appetizers, I got my full course meal, I got drinks.
Okay.
I almost got dessert, but the drinks was like getting me. So I was like, hey child, like let me pace this.
Let me make sure I can make it home. Wait a minute. Right. There's no one to carry me home.
No one to carry me home. But yeah, so the 2 lessons that I learned was I'm not a people person. And to go out by yourself, go sit at the bar if you want to, go eat. So yeah, I'm blessed to work from home. That's my blessing from this recap. I know I said a lot, but that's my blessing. Number one, working from home is a great blessing. I don't like being around people. And number 2, lesson and a blessing. Lesson is go out. I'm a foodie, so go get something to eat by myself. You don't have to bring it home. Go sit at that restaurant, eat it by yourself, and that's also a blessing. So lesson and blessing wrapped up in one. So
love that. Oh, I love that solo journey for you. I feel like we're on similar paths with that right now.
Being single is like, I want to go out on dates. And since I'm single, I know I'm like, I thought you said you was dating somebody. I'm single. Okay.
What, you're single until you're married? Are you standing by that?
Until I'm married. Okay. You know my saying, don't let your boyfriend stand in the way of your husband, okay? don't have a boyfriend. Let's just say that. But I'm just saying, like, that is a rule that I'll always stand by. Like, so yes, I'm single until married. And I'm single because I'm single and I don't have a boyfriend. But yeah. So I want to go on dates because I'm such a date person. So my next date is a museum. I want to go to a museum.
I like that.
Yes. And, you know, have a good time. So, yes, single date, lady, solo date. Enjoy your day and have fun.
I love that. Oh, you inspired me. I want to take myself out now.
Yes, you got to get cute. Like, get cute.
Yeah. I gotta try. Okay,
because you know you try when you go out with your girls or you go on a date, you get cute. But when you go out by yourself, you're usually like sweatpants and like chill wear.
Keeping comfortable. But no, dress up for me.
Yes.
I dress up for...
was like, okay, girl. Keep sitting at this table.
Okay. Like, if y'all can't see, we're flipping our invisible hair.
Flip your hair.
Miss Daisy Dash actually has hair. my shortcut that can't be flipped like that.
Shout out to Elle. She did some amazing knotless braids on me this past week. I love them dearly. Yeah, I was supposed to braid my hair, right? I used to braid my hair all the time through high school, through college, through out of college.
Yeah.
Braid my hair.
You braided mine too.
I'm getting older. Not older. And I want to do everything but sit down and braid my hair because when I got to braid my hair, I can't touch my phone. I can't move around. I got to sit here and focus. So I have the attention span of a 2-year-old. So I kept BSing and braid my hair. And then I was like, oh, my friend actually braids hair. Why not pay her? To braid my hair. So did an amazing job. Shout out to Elle. So now I'm never gonna braid my hair. Thank you.
Look great. They're giving me poetic justice, Janet Jackson, especially with your black on right now. It's giving Janet.
You know, now I gotta go find me a Tupac. Like Tupac, where you at?
Where you at, dude? You know, that would be the type of guy I would see you with too. Okay, that's a sidebar. Sorry. This is not what that is.
I mean, I'm not mad at it. You know, that's the type of man that I
like a hood poet.
Yes. I want to find my man at open mic with a bunch of tattoos on, like full dreadlocks. Jesus had dreadlocks, so you know. My man has to have locks. He has to have the locks, you know.
All right.
Side note, but
yeah. Veered off. But no, we're clearly having a good week. I love that for us.
Amazing. So guys, tell us about your week. Tell us if you had a blessing this week. Share. We want to know what lessons did you learn so we don't have to live it and try to learn it ourselves. I like to live through others and learn from them their lessons. I don't want to have to go through your trials and tribulations. You went through it for us, sister, you know. So tell us your lessons and your blessings for this week.
Yeah, we love that. And it sounds like for both of us, we're going through a very transitional phase right now. We're kind of discovering new things about ourselves.
Yeah.
Just going into new career paths, career journeys, and just like all the things that come with being an adult and making life-changing decisions every so often.
Yes.
And I actually heard, I forgot where I heard this from, but they pretty much said like unforgiveness blocks you from growth. And I think as we're changing right now and you know moving into different spaces, I think a key question right now is how do you make sure you don't become your trauma? As you're going into new spaces, how do you make sure you don't take that baggage with you?
That's a good question.
It's a deep question.
That's a deep question.
Right?
Ooh. And I've been, look. That's a really great question. That's a really deep question. how don't you become your trauma?
Yeah.
That's like so hard to do. And people, well, I'm not even going to say people, I'm going to talk about myself. I can't speak for others.
Right.
I know for me, I've always been the person that's like, oh, I have these cycles that I've seen go on in my life, from parents to grandparents to aunties to uncles. And it's, for me, it was just like, I don't want to relive this, because you can see when a person's trauma takes over for a person and they can't for the life of them get out of it and get out of that continuous cycle, because they're still hung up on that trauma. So for me, and the trauma that I've been through, or the things that I've gone through, I just make it my point to say, okay, I'm not this.
Yeah.
I would not be bound to this. Not that I gotta forgive the person or what I've been through, but I'm gonna move past it.
Okay.
And not become it, for one, because I don't like what I've been through. So why would I put someone else through that?
Right.
So I like to check myself at the door and say, hey, we've been through this, sis.
Yeah.
This is what we've been through.
You do.
We don't like that. I don't like that. I'm not gonna keep waking up to this. I'm not gonna carry this on my back every day. And sometimes you just have to look at yourself in the mirror and pep talk yourself every day until it's just not present into your life anymore. But until you, because I know a few people who don't recognize their trauma or don't try to say, hey, I've been through X, Y, and Z. They just push it under the rug and they be like, I'm this, I'm strong, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. And you are, but until you uncover and accept what you've been through and move past it, you're still going to be in that continuous cycle of becoming what you've been through and putting out that negativity into the world.
Right.
So yeah, you just got to face it head on. Like for me, I'm very self-aware, and that's a blessing, and I thank God for that. So I just take what I've been through, look at it, and like, you're just not going to defeat me. I refuse to be defeated by what I've been through. And God, that's another thing. God, look, you know what I've been through, but I won't live through it again and again and again. So yeah, that's for me. You just gotta face your trauma head on and be like, listen up, you little bitch. You want to tussle, we can tussle, but this is it. This is where you stay. This is where I leave you. I'm gonna box you up, ship you off, and keep it moving. So yeah, that's how, for me, that's how I am. As you notice, I didn't say forgive. I said move on, because I'm still working on forgiving and how to forgive. But I'm a beast at moving on. So yeah. What about you?
That's
how
good.
do you not become your trauma?
Yeah.
Or how have you not become your trauma?
Or try not to be. Or
how are you still trying not to become your trauma?
Yeah. So first I want to clarify that trauma doesn't have to be like the most horrific event that's happened to you. Of course, we're not licensed therapists or anything like that. So like, I even wanted to look up the word trauma. So it's just a response to something that a deeply distressing or disturbing event. And of course, that's relative to anyone.
Right. Like the Will Smith smacking. A lot of people said they got trauma from that. So.
Whatever. People, and that's the thing. That's why I want to define it. Okay, so let me fully define it. Let me. Okay. So trauma is the response to a deeply distressing or disturbing event that overwhelms an individual's ability to cope, causing feelings of helplessness. Okay. So that can look different for different people. Different
Right.
events can be that distressing event, that deeply distressing event. And I don't think it has to be to the greatest of extreme of like being, you know, raped or molested, even though people do experience that. I think trauma is relative and it has different scales, different degrees of severity. So I just want to clarify that because people are going to be like, what type of trauma you've been through? Like, what type of life you live in? You never lived that hard of a life or anything like that. But it doesn't matter what type of life you live. People experience, you know, disturbing things, and sometimes they don't have the skills to cope with them. That's it.
That, and then I want to piggyback off of that. You can't tell nobody, nobody what they've been through. You're not with anyone 28, 28 at all.
Right.
So don't you dare come out. Whoo, that grinds my gears. Don't you dare come out of your mouth and tell anyone what's trauma or traumatic for them. Point blank, period. Because my trauma may not be your trauma.
Right.
What I've been through may be an easy walk in the park for you. But for me, this is my story. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So yeah, just to lay that foundation. So for me, I had that original thought process of like, I haven't been through anything that's, thankfully, grateful for it, that has been like deeply scarring for me.
Yeah.
But there are some events that have taken place in my life that did alter my life. Yeah, I think that's true. And whether I knew it or not, it either caused, you know, a personality change or me being avoidant of certain situations or things like that. So for me, on this healing journey of mine, I agree with you, Daisy Dash, that first you have to acknowledge that the trauma is there, because and sometimes that takes the help of a professional to help you uncover some things that you don't know exist there. And sometimes it just takes, in both cases, it takes you being still enough to confront, you know, childhood and your younger self and the things that you've been through. Because until you can process all the events that happen in your life, you're just going to keep suppressing it. And I think that's what happens when people become their trauma. They've suppressed it so long, or they did the extreme of like, I'll never do that. Oh, I'll never be in that situation again. That everything they do is to never be in that situation
again. Prevent that situation. To prevent
it. Yeah. Which is, I think, can also be equally harmful, because
you can miss out on a lot of
things. And I think the first step is acknowledging that it's there and accepting that it happened. And then for me, at least on my personal journey, it's been, what are the positives that I can pull from those situations? What lessons can I learn if I never learned them back then?
Yeah.
If I'm still trying to work through that, what lessons can I have? And then, what lessons can I learn? And then something really cool that I learned in one of the leader courses that I took is, how can I use that trauma, once healed from it? I want to emphasize that, once healed from it, to help people out of that similar situation.
I like
that. Yeah, because for me, my life perspective, I don't think things happen to us by coincidence. Everything has a purpose, even the bad things, although because humans are flawed and, you know, we hurt each other, bad things happen. Because we have free will. I think God still works everything out for our good. So even the most devastating situations still will play into the person that you're destined
to be.
Yeah. So I actually, in the beginning of 2022, I've just been like journaling some of the painful memories for me. So like maybe being bullied in 7th grade, one bullying event. I don't want to say it's like something that's occurred, but like a sustained bullying like season of my life, but just one particular event that happened that literally shifted the way I moved within the world in order to prevent me from being in that type of situation again.
Yeah.
I wanted to make myself small so I couldn't be seen, so I wouldn't be a target for that type of situation again.
Whoever bullied Miss Annelytics, fuck you.
And it's literally because
bully her down, bitch.
I appreciate you, but I'm also forgiven them. I think that's the next stage too, of just like, we were all children, all trying to fit in, and all with our own individual traumas.
And she was probably getting bullied at home. So, yeah.
You know, that's people's business. And you really don't know people's lives, especially as a like 7th grader or whatever. But yeah, so those have been the steps: acknowledgement, acceptance, forgiveness. And I think in between the steps of, I guess, acknowledgement and I think it's both phases. In between acknowledgement and acceptance and forgiveness, you still have to feel all your emotions. So feel the anger, feel the bitterness, feel the resentfulness, but let go of it.
Don't live in it.
I think don't live in it, because it's just energy that's being used in a negative way. Like all that energy can be used positively. And I know it's easier said than done, which is why I think sometimes you do need, you know, people to help give you the skills to know how to cope with traumatic situations. And I think it takes a lot of not isolation, but times to be solitude, so you can think through all of your feelings and thoughts and go through them. Acknowledge that you're angry at that person. Don't just like, whatever, they gon' hate on me when I make it. But you're still angry at them, and that anger recognize is still all up the in actual there.
Recognize how you truly feel.
Nah, you made me angry. So I say all that to say, I think those are the 3 steps for me, at least. That's what I got so far.
No, I like that. And what I learned, shout out to the Queen Beyonce. I love her. I love her. She was, I don't know which docuseries or documentary that I was looking at of hers, but she was saying how she allows herself 48 hours to go through her true emotions. And that's how she learned to heal from things, because at first she used to harbor emotions and just move on and just act like things and suppress it and act like things never happened. And she, you know, felt like she wasn't getting anywhere with that. And she wasn't. No one can get anywhere if you're just harboring all of these emotions inside. One day you're going to snap and, you know, be in a mental home. So she says she allows herself 48 hours. And I've been doing that ever since I've heard it, allowing myself time to go through the emotions. Sometimes it's not 48 hours. Sometimes it's a year. Sometimes it's a month. But allowing yourself to actually feel those true emotions and for you to acknowledge that, I definitely have seen that with me acknowledging my true emotions, really healing from what I've been through, or healing and moving over the situation versus harboring it. And whenever something triggers that emotion, I'm back to square one to be pissed off and angry and all of this. But now once I go through, I'm like, this person really hurt my heart. And going through the hatred, going through the crying, going through that. No, I'm really sad because me, I still am. I'm the type of person that if something hurts my feelings, I'm gonna keep it player, and you won't know that you hurt my feelings, unless like you're bae or something, and I'm like, you really hurt my feelings. Oh my God. And I like the joke around when my feelings are hurt, because it's like, oh, my feelings are hurt. And it's a coping mechanism. I like, oh, ha, 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 my feelings hurt, you hurt my feelings. And then once I step away from the situation, I'm like, damn, that really hurt my feelings. Why did that hurt my feelings? Do I like this person enough to allow them to hurt my feelings again? Do I want to be in the situation again? How do I prevent this from happening again? And really thinking through it, being a realist. Also, I'm not really optimistic. So once I go through something, like, damn, I most likely will never go through this again because this is what made it happen. So if I can remove this factor, I will. But if this is supposed to happen again, this is how I'm going to handle it next time. This is how I'm going to prevent the outcome from occurring again, because I'm going to get ahead of it. These are the warning signs. These are the red flags.
It's looking like it looked before.
This is looking real similar. So
that's interesting.
I'm gonna get in front of it. So really just taking the time to be like, okay, and breaking everything down and acknowledging how I feel about it, how I feel about it. How did I get here? What were the signs before? Because everything has a sign before it like occurs, right?
Right.
So I know, like, okay, A, B, C, D happened for E to appear. So how do I get in front of A, B, C, D, E? Or A, B, C, D. And if I can't get in front of A, B, C, D, then how do I go through the A, B, C, and D again, but prevent E if it's possible? So yeah, there's just a lot. I think every situation is just like,
every situation is different.
Yeah,
it requires a different part of yourself, a different process sometimes,
right? And just go through those emotions. It'd be hard to go. Listen, I'm a crybaby. When I say I'm dramatic, I'm dramatic. I'm a crybaby. So it could really be a minor instance to other people. That's why I say you can never tell anyone what's traumatic to them and what's not, because everything is traumatic to me and traumatizing.
Not everything.
Not everything, but 99.9% of the time, it hurts my feelings. No, I'm gonna stop playing. But yeah, so a lot of things can be minimal to people, and when I go through, I'm like, no, this really hurt. Like, and why did it hurt my feelings so bad? Why?
And that's the thing, because is it something that they actually did, or is it that situation's reminding you of a traumatic prior situation?
Right. And that's the thing you got to think through. Like, why am my feelings hurting so bad?
It's like,
sometimes it's just me, and it's not connected to any other source. It's just me being me and being dramatic and me just not liking my feelings hurt.
And that's it. And of course, we always, our reflex is always to try to be in a safe place. So what can we do? That's like our brain's initial kind of reflex. Like, how can I make this a safe situation for me? That's why we don't try new things. That's why we stick around people that we're familiar with. Yeah. It's like, stay safe, which is good when you're in the wild. But it's a little bit more difficult when you're trying to, grow, do different things in order to grow, get into different spaces. It's
so how, when you get into different spaces,
I knew this was coming.
I don't know how I want to phrase this or word this. When you get into these different spaces, how do you cope, or how do you
move past the fear?
Move past the fear. What are those coping mechanisms, or make yourself bigger than the bear type things?
I'm actually still learning that, and I think it's something you'll never get over the fear of trying something new. I don't think that's that's the case. I think with every bigger step, there's going to be another fear that you have to get over, because it's requiring something else of you that you may not believe that you can do. So for me, I've been in a just do it type of state in my life.
Okay, Nike, just do it.
Yeah. It's like my faith over fear motto that we actually brought up in the beginning of the year. And I will say, I think I'm honoring that motto right now. Ooh. Number one, I think it's important to know or to have a direction for where you want to go. So if there are certain goals that you want to accomplish, and you know there are certain steps that you have to take in order to accomplish that goal, even if it scares you, you have to do it in order to meet that goal. And for me, it's that the goal, I always try to say the goal, the impact, the influence I'm trying to make is bigger than the fear. And once I get past the fear, the impact, once I get past the fear and have that impact and influence, the fear would have seemed inconsequential at that point. It's like, it didn't even matter. It's like, I was scared of this, and look what I accomplished in spite of that fear. And for me, at least in this season, it's been constantly reminding me, hey, this goal that you're after is bigger than the fear that you're experiencing. Ooh. And having the people around you who can see that you're going a particular path and are motivating you towards that, and holding you accountable, of like speaking to that fear of like, don't even listen to that. You were born for this. Like, look at all the skills that you have. Like, why are you holding yourself back? Like, you know you can do this. Don't believe those lies in your head. Like, you have to do that positive self-talk, and then you have to surround yourself with people who are doing. But
how do you do that positive self-talk when you've already been through, say this is just a example, that you've been through this and you've been traumatized by this, or you've been hurt by this? So that fear is actually stemming from something that you've been through. How do you get yourself geared up to face that again, but for a better outcome?
That's a good question. I think part of that is definitely taking the time to acknowledge and grieve whatever failures that you've had in the past. My coach actually says this, like, there's no such thing as a failure, just a lesson learned. Ooh. So for the same situation that you're trying to, accomplish again, or the same goal that you're trying to accomplish, that you may not have been successful in the past, number one, reflect on that. Like, grieve the fact that, like, you really tried your hardest to do something and it didn't work. Yeah. And that's cool. And that's sad. It's sad and it's hurtful. But for everyone who's accomplished great things, they've always failed. No one, you fail forward. Like, you learn something. Once you reflect that, like, oh, okay, that happened, that failure happened, it happens to everyone, then you have to understand the lessons learned. It's like, okay, what can I do? What did I learn from that failure? Yeah. Because the lessons that you learn from that failure probably are what's going to make you succeed the next go around. And if you never experienced that, you probably wouldn't have been as successful the next time you try it. Yeah. I hope that makes sense. Like that. Yeah. Yeah. Because I know that's a big thing for, like, entrepreneurs and, like, business owners and just people who, like, are really trying to build something new. And there are you have launches and the launches don't go well, or you have, product releases and the releases don't go well. But there is always something you can learn out of those failures, lessons learned. Yeah. And then for those lessons learned, make sure you're educating yourself on how to prevent those those type of failures from happening. So surround yourself with the people who have gone through similar situations as you and can remind you that you're not alone. And here are the techniques that I use to get out of those situations.
Right.
Yeah.
But what if it's a relationship? Like you've gone through a traumatic relationship before and your fear is getting attached to someone again. You have this fear of being, hurt again. How do you prep yourself or mentally get yourself back into the swing of dating and commitment and things like that?
That's a deep
and bypassing
question.
That fear. Yeah. This is ignorant education.
I know. I'm like, this is where I feel like having like a therapist would be helpful because
and forgiveness, because this episode's about forgiveness.
Forgiveness, which we'll pivot to real soon. But I think part of that is understanding why that relationship failed, taking accountability for your part and understanding their part too. And like, I don't know. I feel like it's a similar situation of like the love that you're trying to or the loving relationship that you're trying to attain is bigger than the fear of trying to date again or trying to be in a relationship again. But I think with failed relationships, you really have to get to the root of like why things failed, what you're really afraid of. Are you
acknowledge that failure?
Exactly. It's like, are you afraid of being rejected? Did you feel like the person rejected you once you showed them your complete self? Did you feel like you weren't loved correctly? How do you communicate, how you need to be loved?
Yeah. That's a good question.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to relationships, it's so layered because how you view relationships always stems back to like your original relationships in your life. So when you were born, your caregiver or whatever situation you were born into, it always plays a part into how you view relationships moving forward.
Yeah.
So that's so layered. I'm not an expert in no relationship therapy, but for me,
we're talking about for yourself. How
for
do you
me,
like get past? Yeah, that's what I said earlier. I'm not gonna talk for anyone else. I'm gonna talk from experience.
You're right.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, to be completely transparent, I haven't necessarily been in a committed relationship. So I've never had to deal with the grief of losing a committed relationship.
Or friendship. We don't just relationship, but friendship as well, because you can have a traumatic experience with a friend and then or friends, and then we're at this age where friendships aren't easily as made as they are or as they were when we were younger. So
how do I deal with losing a deep friendship?
Yeah.
Let's see.
And how did that prevent you, or how did you work past that from preventing you to start new relationships like our friendship?
I think the biggest friendship that I've lost was actually mainly, I don't want to say mainly, but I can acknowledge that I had a big portion on why it failed. So that's why it's difficult for me, because we were friends, and I think what was necessary for the friendship, I couldn't provide at that time, like the emotional support, the availability, the communication. I can acknowledge that I wasn't a very good communicator in that friendship, but that's similar on their ends. Long story short, like a person that was in like our group from high school, we just had a falling out because it just seemed, as she expressed it, it seemed like we didn't show the same love and care for her as we did with the other people in the group. And I can acknowledge that because, you know, there was a little distance between us, and it was harder to communicate and keep that friendship up when there's distance. And we were going through different phases of our life. And for me, I don't know. I'm still working on the friendship thing. But for me, I'm the type of friend who likes to like see you in person and catch up. And some people don't like that. So I think for me, with friendships moving forward, I just really have to understand that the way I view friendships is not the way everyone else views friendships.
Ooh, yeah.
And sometimes you do get in a relationship with someone who wants to be in a friendship with someone who wants to text every day or catch up more often than you're used to. And it's like, okay, do you like that? Do you love that person enough to try and kind of compromise in those situations? Still communicate that you're not that type of person who would do like the daily check-ins, because I'm not. But how can you guys compromise? So I think that's the big, all that to say, I think the what I've learned about friendships is that I have to understand that people, the expectations required in a friendship change person to person.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say I've had any experience, traumatic experiences with friendships, thankfully. Like, I'm really close with my best friends from like high school and middle school.
Yeah, that's good. So I'm like, I got all the questions.
I know. Right? I'm like, wait, I got some questions too. How do you handle, you know, the traumatic experiences of friendship and relationship?
Yeah.
And trying again to start a new relationship or start a new friendship?
I like to look at it as all relationships aren't going to be the same. Like, what I had in the past is not going to be what I'm going to have in the future, even if it does end up the same. As I said, when I start to get in situations that are similar to what I've been through, then I'm going to try to prevent it without hindering my experience with this person. So, yeah, because I've only been in long-term relationships, which is weird because, you know, I'm still really young.
Monogamous.
Yeah, right? All this wasted time, no ring. No. I've had great partners, so I haven't really been in anything that was traumatic to me. Maybe on the outside looking in, is probably people are probably like, whoa, I beg to differ. But nothing has ever stopped me from wanting love again. Because I like experiencing love, even if it's not long term. I like to experience, I like the courting, I like all of that. And not just the love of a relationship, but a love of a friendship as well. Because nothing's like a new friendship, because a new friendship, you go into brunch every day, you talking on the phone, it's just like a new relationship. So I'm not gonna allow, as I said earlier, allow anything that I've been through stop me from basically living my best life, relationship, friendship, anything, because once I feel like I learned from something or I've been through something, I'm going to try to prevent it from happening again. So I'm going to pray about it. That's the best way to prevent anything from happening, is prayer. I'm going to let you know, hey, buddy, I've been through X, Y, and Z. If you think I'm going through that again, you're crazy. So you might as well keep it moving. And just being upfront and honest, not only with myself, but the people that I'm starting to build relationships with. I think that's why I haven't been in like really trashy relationships with guys, and I suck at friendships. I really suck at friendships, but because that goes back to forgiveness. I don't know how to forgive. I do, but I don't. I know how to move on. As I said, I'm a great move oner, but a forgiver.
Okay, so do you think forgiveness and moving on go hand in hand? Do you need to forgive to move on?
Sometimes, because to me, moving on is like, okay, I acknowledge that happened, but I'm not going to accept it to happen again. So I'm going to move on from it. Like, hey, this hurt me. You hurt me this way. We acknowledge that. I don't want to deal with that again. I don't even want to look at your face again to deal with it. So I'm moving on from it. But to me, once I acknowledged it, I don't have to forgive you. But you're not going to live rent free in my head either. So just accepting what happened and just moving on from it is my way of things. Not probably the most mature way, but I'm still growing. I'm still learning. So that's why I really suck at friendships, because once a friend, I think, goes against my top morals or the moral code, then it's like, do I really want this person around me? No. Okay, get you out of my space and then just move on. You don't get a enemy out of me. You don't get a person who's like stalking your page or wants to kill you or anything.
No.
Because that's what happens sometimes when you end a friendship, a person or a relationship. A person just goes, left. But no, I just don't care anymore. I take the emotions that I was giving to you or investing in you and just move on. So I don't think you have to forgive all the time. I'm not a forgiving person, and I've done well in my life,
Okay. So let's define forgiveness so that we're all on the same page, even for our listeners, because I feel like people have different definitions for forgiveness. People think like forgiveness mean I gotta talk to you again, we gotta be friends again, we gotta be in a relationship again. No. Forgiveness, as it's defined, is when you stop feeling angry or resentful towards someone for an offense, flaw, or mistake. There's also the definition of cancel a debt. So I'm canceling what I believe you owe me.
Yeah.
So
I canceled you. I don't forgive you. I canceled you.
But that is forgiveness. I think true forgiveness is where. It's hard for me to even say because I'm on my forgiveness journey, but it's where you can look at the person or the situation that's done you wrong. Like you cannot forgive like the neighborhood you grew up. Like there are some things you could just gotta forgive and let go of so I think forgiveness is like looking at the person or looking at the situation and like it
having
said, having any ill will.
Yeah. Okay, so I'd be forgiving people.
See?
Like, in my head, I'm like, I don't forgive you. I still don't like you.
Yeah, I still don't like you.
Yeah, to me, it's like, I moved on from this. In my head, I'm like, I moved on from the situation. And I'm telling myself, I didn't forgive you. I still don't like you, but I don't have any ill will towards you. I just don't like you. But you don't live rent free in my head. I don't think about you. I don't wish bad on you. I don't talk about you. You just been canceled out of my whole thought process. But if I ever see your face, it's like, I don't care about this person. I just don't like them. That's it. That's all. They did X, Y, and Z. I know what you did, but I don't care about it. I don't care about you. Just that. So that's why I say it's moving on versus forgiveness. But what is your definition? Because that's Webster's definition.
I know. Yeah, that's. I was like, can we
your definition?
It? Like I said, I've been on this journey.
Okay.
And this is what the Lord has required of me.
The Lord.
I think true forgiveness comes from praying.
Comes from within. Yes.
Comes from praying for that person's well-being. And I know that's very controversial, guys.
Yeah.
I think forgiveness is a very radical act. I think it's a very radical action, and I think it's very spiritual too. I don't think human nature's reflex and inclination is not to forgive. We want to hold grudges. We want to take revenge. We want to like, that's our nature. That's our fleshly nature. So I think forgiveness truly is a spiritual act. So for me, I think it's acknowledging what the person has done and how it affected me, trying to see the perspective from the other person. So I always try to say, like, this is also coming from another broken individual who has also been flawed. Okay, cool. Then I remember I'm a broken individual who's also flawed and who has also probably hurt people in my life. So it's like coming to terms that, yes, I was hurt, but I also do the hurting as well. So do I want to be forgiven for the actions that I have done?
Yeah.
Even without knowing it. Even if I think I'm the best person in the world, we all have hurt somebody.
That's right. Yeah.
And then from there, where it comes to, my spirituality, is like, for all the things that I've done wrong, God still forgives me. And it's like, because I love God in the way that I do, and I want to do as he says, of like loving people, loving comes with forgiveness. It doesn't come with proximity, it doesn't come with direct relationship, but it does come with forgiveness. And forgiveness looks like, wishing the best for the person in spite of what they've done to me that might have affected me. And I'm not saying I'm an expert at it. I think it's something that you also have to do constantly. I think you have to remind yourself that you've forgiven someone, like, because those emotions will come back up. It's going to be like, oh, I can't stand your face, but I forgave you for what you did. So I really hope you reach all your, I really hope you heal. I really hope whoever hurts you, acknowledges that they hurt you. I hope that you heal from your pain, and I hope you grow from it. And it's hard at first, but once you keep like wishing well for that person and affirming that person, I think that can happen just like within your individual prayer time or meditation time.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be to that person. You don't have to text them and say, like, I hope you're doing well. Yeah. I think forgiveness is a much more internal act that the person who did you wrong doesn't even have to know that you forgave them. It's like, I don't think it takes all that. I think it really is you releasing that pain. And I think that you release that pain when you replace it with something else, which is love.
See, yours a little bit deeper than mine.
I told you I'm on this journey, and that's the way I can process it. That's the way
that's a good way to think of forgiveness. Okay, try to be godlike. Okay, be godly in your forgiveness. That's the only way.
And that works if you have works if you have my perspective, my religious perspective. But that's the lens I'm looking at it from. Right. It really is. It really is.
And that's a great way to look at it. Yeah, I like that.
I think your way is a good way to look at it too.
So my definition of forgiveness, I would say I define it as
complete.
Accepting what a person did and no longer holding what they did against them. That's it. That's all. Yeah. So just accept what they did. If I forgive you, I'm accepting what you did to me and no longer holding that instant of what you did against you. Because if you did something to me and I say I forgave you, but every time you do something else, I'm like, but you did this and this and this. You never forgave that person. I never forgave you.
That's good.
So yeah, That's it. That's why I was like, mine's not that deep. It's just accepting what you did and no longer holding that against you.
And,
but definitely, God forgive you, so you got to forgive other people. But I'm not God just yet. I'm not an angel.
Which
is
why I think we need his help. I'm like,
listen,
Lord, I hope they good. End the prayer. Like, that's how it be started.
No, so I told you.
Smile.
So I told you, I told you I pray for my enemies, right?
Yeah, you did say that.
So one day I'm in the grocery store. This is like off topic, but it's hilarious. I'm in the grocery store, and there's like long lines, and I just got probably, I know what I had in my hand. I had 2 Red Bulls, a bag of tortilla chips, and some dip. That's it. That's all. That's literally what I went to the grocery store for. So 4 things, and there was a lane next to the lane that I was in, and it wasn't open yet. So a lady, a cashier came to open the register, and everyone started moving over. Some people are hesitant to see who's going to move over, who's not, so they get if they're going to stay in the lane or if they're going to move. So that was me. I'm like, okay, let me see if everybody and their mom will try to go into the new lane or not. So no one was moving over there. So I said, okay, I'm gonna move my little happy self over there. I only got 4 items. So as I'm moving over there, the grandma that was in front of me, it was an older white lady, okay, in front of me in the other lane. She stayed in that lane, right? So as I move to my lane, I'm like on my phone, and there was like 2 people in front of me now. At first, there was a longer line. So grandma decides she want to hop herself in my lane now. And think that her spot is still in front of me. So I'm like, excuse you. She's like, oh, this is my spot.
Oh, you weren't here, sis?
As I was about to say something, you know how you can feel God like shut you up all the way.
Yeah, it's just like it's never worth
it. Like, shut your lips. Shut your lips right now. So as I shut my lips, I started praying. I was like, Lord Jesus, I don't wish ill on this lady, but I pray that this lady gets whatever she deserves. Amen. So as I opened my eyes, a guy that worked there, a cashier, he taught me. He said, hey, I'm opening this register right here so you can get a line right here. So I walked my happy self in that line. First person in the line, got my stuff and left. And Granny up there looking all sour puss. Like, that's what you get. The Lord knew what you deserve. So stay your old self with the oldies and that vibe. Bye. So yes. Did I forgive her for cutting in line? No. But I prayed for her. I prayed. I didn't pray any ill intent on this woman.
You pray for her to get what she deserved.
That's not ill intent, though. So
what that.
But I left that up to God to determine. You see how that works? I left that up to Jesus to determine. Only God can determine what you truly deserve.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, and I think that's the root of forgiveness. It's like trusting that the consequences that they deserve will come to them, not your place to give them those consequences to punish them.
And I like to say the Lord knows my heart. The Lord knew her heart too in that instance. So she got what she deserved. And it was to see my young self leave. Because you, like, Granny, you knew better.
Don't use your old age like that. At that age, they just don't care about life no more. They be like, I'm closer to death than I am to life. So we finna just run the world.
And I would have and that was the thing, because I respect my elders, and I love my grandma. Right? If she would have been like, "Sweetie, can I get in front of you?" Go ahead, baby. Bust a move. There you go. But for me to say, "Excuse me," because I still excuse myself because I'm trying to really understand what you're trying to do, Granny. So I'm like, "Excuse me," and for you to be snappy and saying, "This is my spot," Woo, child. Because I wasn't about to be from Pittsburgh anymore, baby. You was going to get a hold of your B out of me.
B&B, they were about to be ready. Jesus. They said, oh no, this girl is not for me.
You was about to be all mothers, fathers, all up in there. But she got what she deserved. So yeah. So forgiveness, when I pray about you, I'm gonna leave it to God. That's all I can do is leave it to God. Yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah. No, I think this is a really good episode. I feel like a lot of people are going through transitional phases of their life, just in the nature of like us getting out of being in isolation for so long. And from people being in isolation, they're discovering a lot about themselves.
Yeah.
And they kind of had to face that trauma. I think.
And forgiving that trauma.
Yeah,
I definitely agree.
From it. Yeah. I think it's such an important topic right now as people are trying to pivot in their lives, trying to do the next thing, trying to do the thing that really fulfills them. Because I truly believe if you're not, I think healing is a journey that you always try to work on. There's always something new you got to heal from.
Always something. Yeah.
But if you're not actively on that journey, I think, like we saw in Kendrick's album in the last episode, it will eat away at your successes. Even if you achieve,
it sure will. Yeah.
You will not enjoy them to the fullest because you'll still hold on to that revenge. You'll still hold on to that trauma. And it's like, I want us all to be great, living our dreams and living fully and at peace, being at peace with ourselves and being at peace with the world as much as we can be.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I really want everyone
you giving them homework?
Yes. Not everyone does this, but I know a few people that do it, and I know there are others out there that do it as well. But stop making enemies out of people who aren't your enemies.
Ooh.
Like point blank.
Ooh, say more.
Period.
Say more.
When you fall out with a person, that person does not automatically become your enemy.
Right.
When you don't like a person or you don't like their aura, that person does not become your enemy. When a person mistakenly hurt you, they're not your enemy. If their intentions weren't to kill you or harm you in any type of way, they're not your enemy. Stop. When a person side eyes you when you cut them off in a row, they're not your enemies.
Please don't chase after them.
Please don't chase. Stop making
enemies
people your enemies when they're not. That's just it. That's all. Stop white people, certain white people. Stop making black people your enemies when we're not.
That's a whole nother episode. Jesus.
That's a whole nother episode. And that hits on a lot of things that this world is currently going through.
Man.
Stop making up imaginary enemies. Forgive people. Live your life.
Live your life. And it's truly that once you start minding your own business,
your life get better. Oh my goodness. It gets so better. That's
the thing. You won't even have time to worry about the people who you don't directly affect because you have your own business to mind. You have your own people to love. You have your own community to be accountable to. And then everybody else is like, do what they do. Like, just focus on you. And a lot of us need to mind our business or get some business to mind. That's my homework. Get some business.
Get some business. I would say that's the alarm for us to cut off. Get some business.
Get some business.
We are wrapping up episode 7 with getting your own business and minding your own business.
Come on.
Stay in your lane. Don't swerve in nobody else's. Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. If we all stayed in our lane, you know how different this world would be?
there would be no traffic. There would be no problems. There would be no accidents. There would be no problems. Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
So that is the end of episode 7. Thank you guys for listening in. We love you. Love us. And don't go out here making any enemies that don't exist. You ain't got no haters. What are haters? We don't care about them people. Right. What are those?
What are those?
Enjoy the rest of your week. Yeah. And thank you again for tuning in, everybody.
Thank you. See you next time.
Peace.
Peace.